Hello and welcome to the Decibel Boost Podcast, the official music podcast of the website Surreal Resolution. I'm your host, Robert, the negative one, and with me I have...
I can't think of a funny thing to say this week, Alex.
Oh, come on, I was really expecting you to say...
I had a brain fart.
Oh, come on, I actually had this, I thought it out of my head. I'm like, okay, maybe Alex will say, Alex, who's hardwired to self-destruct.
No, that's too easy.
Oh, come on, low-hanging fruit, sometimes you gotta go for it.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, it's just Alex and I this episode. If you're wondering why, it pertains to one of our favorite subjects, the topic of heavy metal. In this case, this past week, 2 days before we recorded this, was the 2016 Revolver Music Awards, previously known as the Revolver Golden God Awards, which took a year off in 2015, to rebrand itself. And so we are going to, comment on, as well as mock some of the things that happened during the award show, because we're metalheads and master snark, people.
Yeah. Short version, this show was a cringe fest. And not the good kind, like DVT videos. I mean the bad kind.
And trust me, I can confirm that, because I've sat through a lot of other cringe fests. I always sit through the Ubisoft E3 press conferences, and I thought that was as cringy as it could get. Or, worse, EA. But no, apparently it could get worse.
So they found a way.
So, just to, start, the show opens. The hosts this year are Jose Mangin. Am I saying that right?
It's Jose Mangin, actually. Okay,
Jose Mangin, a Sirius XM radio DJ, and good old Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, who just looks so uncomfortable up on stage.
Can I just point out they had, zero chemistry together?
I've seen more chemistry between, the leads in light novel animes.
God, it's just... They just don't... They're not on the same wavelength. Wavelength. God, if I can talk without reminding myself of how cringy everything was.
It's you could very clearly tell Dave Mustaine was not paid enough to be there.
He was rewarded handsomely in other ways, though.
Oh, I'm sure he was. So, okay, those two hosted the show, and, as soon as it started, we had the first award being presented, which was presented by the Master Douche Nozzle Frankie Palmieri of the professional chugcore band Immure.
Yes, Immure.
Presenting an award that his band will probably never win, the first award of the night for Best Live Band. And apparently there was a little bit of a technical issue during this first award, as the names did not display on screen.
Can I just point out really quick, did this show intentionally have a production budget of $1?
I mean...
they leased out Webster Hall in New York, and this is... all they could come up with, some Epiphone gear on the stage, a big, stage for all the bands to play, one podium, 2 teleprompters, and a screen that barely works, with terrible lighting and terrible sound.
Well, come on, Alex, you can't expect metalheads to have money.
I expect some of them do, like, Dave Mustaine.
Again, where do you think most of the show's budget went? And even then, it probably wasn't enough for him.
Probably went to his coffee stuff or his beer.
So anyway, the first award, as we mentioned, was for Best Live Band. The nominees are Black Sabbath, Ghost, Hatebreed, Rob Zombie, and Slipknot. Now, I've actually seen 3 of these bands live. I've seen Black Sabbath, I've seen Hatebreed, and of course Slipknot just, not this past summer, but the summer before, when they were touring with Lamb of God. And, okay, Slipknot was very clearly the best of them, which is why it made me so happy when Slipknot won the award. Absolutely deserving of. If you ever get a chance to see a Slipknot show, you should. It is magnificent.
Yep, I'm still planning to go see Slipknot whenever I can. I just have to wait for the right time and the right place. But one thing I have to say about the Best Live Band, where the hell was Baby Metal?
I wouldn't know for sure. I mean... I don't think they played that many U.S. dates, so I guess a U.S.-based publication can't judge for sure.
Let me just say this. Have you seen the live Road of Resistance video?
I have not.
Well, there's this one part in the start of the show where Sue Metal, she is pointing at the crowd, spreading her hands and giving a dead look in her eyes, saying, "Open the pit, motherfuckers!" And then the music kicks up. They start moshing in there, and it's like a big 30,000 seat arena. Oh god, so good.
I'll have to take your word on that then.
Yeah, just look it up after the show, and you'll see what I mean.
Okay, so Slipknot won the award, and Jim Root accepted it on behalf of the band. And then right after, we get the first live performance of the night. So immediately crushing the hype of Slipknot Awards, we get a performance from a band called Stitched Up Hearts, which basically sounds like a bastard mix of Flyleaf, In This Moment, and Motionless in White.
I have a similar thing. They sound like a weird cross to me of Evanescence and Hailstorm with a little too much pop. Didn't like it.
It cringed. And the weird thing is, this band was actually nominated for an award, which we'll get to later on. I'm like, you nominate? Who would nominate this band for anything? Other than, most annoying people ever.
One other complaint I have to have about this show: the live performances are too fucking long. Like, if you're having an award, then 20 minutes of live performance, an award, then 20 minutes of live performance. That's a really bad flow. That is a really bad flow for an award show. I mean, the Grammys, I expect that to happen because who the fuck cares about the Grammys? But come on, Revolver. You're better than that. You know you're better than that, and I know you're better than that.
But anyway, moving on from that, then we get the next award of the night, which was presented by two dudes from the band Atreyu. That one band you thought was really cool in middle school. And the award they're presenting is for Best Drummer. And the nominees are Vinnie Paul, Chris Adler for his work on the latest Megadeth album, Thomas Hake from Meshuggah, the dude from Of Mice and Men whose name I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce. I think it's like Vincent Mom's Spaghetti or something. And then,
whatever.
Last but not least, Billy Reimer from The Dillinger Escape Plan. And of course, the winner is Chris Adler, which I have no problem with it. I would have been happy with, as long as it wasn't the dude from Of Mice and Men, I would have been okay with anyone winning this award. Obviously, my bias is towards Billy Reimer, but Chris Adler, guy's a fantastic dude. I saw him when they played with Lamb of God, and he can kill a kid like no one's business.
Absolutely. I have two notes to make about this. One, there was no Mike Portnoy nomination this year, which is kind of surprising considering he does at least 3 albums a year, no matter what. And two, I would be happier for Chris Adler winning for his work on Megadeth's album Dystopia if Dave didn't kick him out of Megadeth's live tour.
Oh yeah, I thought about that during the show. You have to imagine he's just thinking, man, if I get alone with him and a knife.
Yeah. I'll talk more about Dave in a minute, but
And then next up, another live performance. One that I'm sure had Alex just maybe a little bit giddy. Lacuna Coil, a.k.a. the band fronted by his waifu, Christina Scabbia.
No. Jim Root's waifu.
Oh, come on, Alex. In your head you fantasize about that. Don't lie to me, boy.
Not currently, no. But that's a topic for another time. But yes, Lacuna Coil, they're awesome! Despite their lineup changes, they're still awesome live.
I would kind of have to, I don't know, I've never been the biggest Lacuna Coil fan, but they seem like they'd be fun to see live. Plus their performance of, that one song everyone knows, Our Truth, was kind of cool. Yeah.
And let me just say, their latest album, their latest 2 albums have been such a tremendous step up, especially after Shallow Life. That was a terrible album.
Again, don't listen to much Lacuna Coil because reasons, so I'll have to take your word on that.
Yeah. Shallow Life was a terrible album.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Then after that performance, which again was 3 songs, we cut to, Jose, chatting it up with people, not to mention giving a free deluxe copy of Black Sabbath's Paranoid to a random audience member. Then, Dave's back up on stage. He invites Ace Frehley from Kiss to present an award for Best New Talent. Now, this is where I have to call bullshit, and you'll hear why in a minute. The nominees are Avatar, Baby Metal, Nails, Stitched Up Heart, aka the band that summarily proved like 30 minutes ago why they shouldn't be nominated for an award ever. And last but not least, Tooth Grinder. Now, for me, I was going between Tooth Grinder and Nails, because, Nails, they do some pretty, like, heavy, fucking savage as hell music, and Tooth Grinder is one of the better, like, experimental metal bands to come out recently. But no, the award went to Avatar. Now, let me tell you why this is bullshit. We'll put the meme here of, that phrase. Now, I like Avatar. Avatar is a pretty good band from what I've heard of them. But they've been releasing albums since 2006. And I remind you, that was 10 years ago.
Oh, Robert, this is a metal awards show. Nobody cares about facts or money.
Yeah, but, like, words mean things. I mean, for fuck's sake, I got a bottle of corn syrup in the friggin' pantry that's newer than Avatar is.
I have no comment on this, so, moving on.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you were looking at the nominees thinking, it should have been Baby Metal.
Yes, I did think it should have been Baby Metal, but to be fair, they have been around since at least 2013, so I can't really call them new.
Newer than Avatar, at least.
Yeah.
And then, the next award, presented by, I think her name is Elise from the band Amaranth, which I think Alex has told me about before, I can't remember now. Presented the award, the Paul Gray Best Bassist Award. The award for the useless cunts.
And this was the night where bass player jokes officially died.
I don't know, man. I thought the joke was kind of funny.
The deliveries were just atrocious.
Yeah, you know what? Revolver, if you ever decide to do bass player jokes event, invite Glenn Fricker. Yes.
And have TJ come up and just say, "Fuck you, Glenn!" Just because.
Fuck you, Glenn! So
only two people know what we're talking about.
Go watch Spectre Media Group. They are fantastic. And so, the award for Best Bassist, the nominees were Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath, Kyle Sanders from Hell Yeah, more like Hell No, ugh. Piggy D from Rob Zombie, because everybody knows the bass lines from fucking Rob Zombie tracks, Dick Lovgren from Meshuggah, and Robert Trujillo from Metallica. And the award goes to Dick Lovgren of Meshuggah. Sadly, he could not make it to the ceremony that night, so Thomas Hawk accepted on his behalf. Good to have, your homies there with you like that.
Mm-hmm. Just gonna say, it's good to see Meshuggah won at least one award on that night.
At least one. Should have been all the awards.
We'll get to that in a minute, don't worry.
Okay, so up next, we cut to Jose. He's handing out more stuff, and I think this time he hands out an autographed copy of Pantera's Far Beyond Driven to an audience member.
Yeah, he gave a guy a copy of the remaster, which is not as bad as Cowboys from Hell.
And then afterwards, cut back to the stage where we have Alyssa White Glues. I forget what band she's in. Is she in not Morbid Angel, is she in Arch Enemy currently?
I believe she is the new singer in Arch Enemy because Angela Gasso stepped down from that role a while ago.
I know. I was just trying to remember. Why did she leave?
We miss you, Angela.
And she was presenting alongside Doyle, a quintessential member of the Misfits. And I'm going to throw this award over to Alex, since this is more his territory than anything else.
Okay, I'm sure nobody listening out here knows, sports people. So I'll just say, 2 people from the UFC, 2 people from the NHL, and 1 person from WWE were nominated for this award. And the award went to the guy who is a wrestler, Big Banter Baron Corbin, who, for probably the 2 of you who follow wrestling besides me, sucks. He's not a good wrestler at all. He's a big guy, he throws little guys around, and I guess that's enough to make him the most metal athlete around.
Oh my god, funny story, I remember, when I was watching a show, I messaged, the Surreal Resolution group chat just to see what John would say, because I told him, do you know much about Baron Corbin? Yeah, it's he got nominated, he won the award for most metal athlete at an award show. I was that prissy little bitch.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. He's not the most well-liked wrestler around.
Pretty much. And so afterwards, the show, has another live performance. This one probably the best of the 3 so far. But before that, it's introduced by our good old boy, Norman Reedus. Walking Dead, Kojima's homeboy, and metal fan extraordinaire.
Is there anything Norman Reedus won't show up at nowadays?
Well, he has to show up if Anthrax is there.
That is true.
And Anthrax, in fact, was there because he was brought on stage to present them with the Revolver Innovator Award, because reasons, and to introduce them as the next live performance. Now this time, Anthrax actually got 4 songs to perform instead of just 3 like the last 2 bands. And in case you're wondering, they opened with Caught in a Mosh, and they ended with Indians. War
Very
Dance!
Nice. Yeah! Anthrax, they're still awesome, but part of me still misses Rob Caggiano. It's just, their new guy just doesn't have the same energy that Rob does. I miss the beanie.
True. I think I actually saw Rob Caggiano, I think he was still playing on the, he played on Worship Music, right?
I think so. I think he left Anthrax in 2014. Don't quote me on that, because, Volbeat.
Yeah, that would have placed it after Worship Music, because I know I saw Anthrax live during the Worship Music tours, and they were good.
Yeah.
And so, following that lengthy performance, the next award was introduced. This one being presented by members of the Dillinger Escape Plan to present the award for Best Vocalist. And I'm sure they were kicking themselves because Greg Puciato was not nominated.
I'm sure we all were.
I was. And so the nominees are Jonah Hegg from Amon Amarth, Chino Moreno from the Deftones, Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
No relation.
Alex's waifu, Christina Scabia. Wait, what do you mean no relation?
Jesse Leach has my last name.
I get it now. We're not going to put that information out there, Alex.
I don't care who knows me.
Uncle Ruckus.
What do I care?
Uncle Ruckus, no relation. And last but not least, Austin Carlisle from Of Mice and Men. And the winner was fucking Austin Carlisle.
Yeah, that's,
what the fuck?
That's a thing that happens.
I mean, okay. You had, Chino Moreno. You had Jesse Leach, which, as much as I don't like Killswitch Engage, I'll admit he's a good singer. You even had Christina there. I could have lived with any of those. But instead, you nominate the most bland and undistinct vocalist of the 5.
And give that guy the award.
Wasn't even there. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Okay, and then we have probably the single most cringy moment of the show, in which Jose and Dave attempt to take a selfie on stage. I even have it in my notes right here. Jose and Dave take a selfie on stage, and God, these two are awkward together.
Oh, the cringe!
Then after that, this group called Life of Agony went on stage to present the award for Best Guitarist. And I'm going to let the guitar guy take over here, because he knows guitars and stuffs.
Okay. Before I get into that, I just have to say one thing. Where were the guys from Periphery, and where was John Petrucci? Those guys are probably the most technically proficient guitarists within, quote-unquote, mainstream metal, and they're nowhere to be found. What the fuck?
They just don't have any respect for our precious caramel-colored god, Misha.
They need to open up their minds to the power of the gent. That's what they need to do. But anyway, the nominees for the Dimebag Darrell Best Guitarist Award were Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge, Michael Ackerfeld and Frederick Ackesson, I hope I said that right, from Opeth, Dave Mustaine and lead guitarist number 23 of Megadeth, Kiko Loureiro, James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett of Metallica, and Zakk Wylde of, Zakk Wylde. And the fucking winners were Megadave and Megadeth guitarist number 23, Kiko Loureiro. What?
Gee, I wonder why that could be.
What the fuck?
Of course. Okay, to go back to my notes here, well, he is hosting the show. Should I really be surprised?
Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. And conveniently enough, right after this award, who goes up to play on stage?
Megadeth.
Fucking Megadeth. Okay, allow me to take a few minutes to get some things off my chest. Megadeth, they're not as great as they used to be. Like, Dystopia was an okay album, but that's because the bar was raised, or rather sunk, so low after the abomination that is Super Collider.
What the hell even was that?
You go from United Abominations and Endgame, two albums which are, at best, pretty good. They got some great tracks on there. The redo of Set Me Free, which is a Tout Le Monde, with Christina Scabia, was awesome. You go from those albums to Super Collider. And not only that, they are tuning down an entire whole step for their performances, which makes all their older songs sound just wrong. Like, I'm the music snob around here. I'm the guy who actually studies, music production, music theory, all that kind of shit. I can let Metallica get away with tuning down a half step because it's a half step. It's not that big of a deal. But a whole step, that changes a lot of dynamics. None of which are for the better. And and unfortunately, the reason for this is because Mr. Megadave's voice is not as strong as it used to be. Then again, it was never really strong to begin with live because, it's just that high-pitched squeal of a voice that he has. I'm sorry, Dave, but you cannot sing. You cannot sing. You're a good guitarist, but you can't sing.
Oh, and we actually skipped something here. To add on to the mega cringe, like, before they actually performed, he also got the Lifetime Achievement Award presented to himself by, of all people, his son Justice Mustaine, who arrived on stage looking a bit like a really bad Yoshikage Kira cosplayer.
Oh my good God. Yeah, we can just call this show the fucking Dave Mustaine show, can't we?
Yeah, it's like Dave Mustaine starring Jose Manchin and other people, I guess.
Yeah.
And actually, this was like almost a cringe sandwich because not only did we have the extreme nepotism and self-absorbed, Dave Mustaine-ness as the top and bottom, but in the middle, there was another award presented, Most Dedicated Fans. This award was presented by Jim Florentine and Don Jameson, who you might recognize both of them from their work on the now-defunct VH1 series That Metal Show, as well as I believe Don Jameson being the voice of several characters on Crank Yankers, including that ever-so-classic character's Special Ed! Yay! Yeah.
Oh, I miss that show so much.
For the three of you who remember that show as a thing.
I'm one of them.
They presented the award for Most Dedicated Fans. Well, actually, I think it was just Jim, because Zakk Wylde came in halfway and carried Don off stage. Not even kidding. Like, he was just carrying him, like, if you ever played Resident Evil 4 and you see how Los Illuminados would carry Ashley away, kind of like that. By the way, I've been replaying Resident Evil 4 recently. The game is still so good.
Really? I haven't heard you say it in the chat 1,000 times today.
Well, someone's got to talk about something other than bitching about Super Mario Run. Jeez. Anyway, so this award was for Most Dedicated Fans, and the nominees are Anthrax, Periphery, hi Alex,
hi,
Pierce the Veil, Trivium, and Volbeat. Wait, Volbeat has fans? Trivium has fans?
Still.
What even is this?
2006.
And the award goes to Pierce the Veil. Teenage Hot Topic fangirls are why we can't have nice things. It should have been Periphery.
The Scene Core girls win again. I hope you're proud of yourselves. Look at what you're doing to all of us!
Or at least Anthrax, because at least Anthrax has Norman Reedus as a fan. And that should count for at least, 10,000 fans at minimum.
It should. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world of Death Stranding. Not yet, anyway.
Soon. And then afterwards was, the Megadeth performance. And I gotta tell you, this was the point. Okay, this show went on for nearly 3.5 hours. And I forget how long into the show this was. But this was the point where I almost fell asleep. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm pretty sure it got, like, halfway through the second song, I nodded off, then all of a sudden the performance was over. And I woke up to Jose giving a Brett Hines signature flying V to another person in the audience.
Oh yeah, I think we should mention that this entire show was sponsored and funded by the people at Epiphone, of which I own an Epiphone guitar, and I would like to own I would like to own a lot more Epiphone guitars. If someone at Epiphone is listening to this and would like to sponsor me, please, I need more guitars. I need that Brent Hines guitar. I need that Brennan Smell guitar. I need more guitars, damn it!
You okay there, man? You need a break? You need to...
I think I just blacked out for a minute.
Hey, just like me watching Megadeth live.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Forgive us for not being invested in a band who can't keep a steady band member crew for more than, 5 minutes.
I'm pretty sure Iron Butterfly had more consistency in their lineup than Megadave. God. Shit, I wouldn't be surprised if friggin' Dave was switching out members in the, literally mid-song or something.
Ugh. You had to give up Sean Glover and Chris Broderick.
Boy, they... And then after that, we had the next award. There were 2 presenters for this one. I believe one of them was Jessica Pimentel, one of the Hispanic actresses from Orange is Black. Although I don't think she's the one dating the drummer from Meshuggah. I think that's one of the other Hispanic actresses. And I forget who the other presenter was. I didn't make a note of it. So this time, the award was being presented for Best Music Video. And the nominees are Blood Moon from Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, Silvera by Gojira, 1985 by Kvelertak, Shadows by Red Fang, and Pride in Prejudice by Slayer. And the award goes to Gojira. As it should, because that was a pretty kick-ass video. Probably, that song and that video are literally the only good things about Magma. I'm not even kidding.
Yes. We know you didn't like Magma.
It was so basic. Why?
They were grieving.
But that didn't mean they had to tune down on the musical complexity, man.
Yeah.
And then, we go right into the next award. I believe this was actually the second to last award. This one, it was being presented by Jake Bowen and Matt V-Neck Halpern from Periphery. Yay!
Yay!
Presenting the award for Song of the Year. And the nominees are Amon Amarth, Raise Your Horns, Square Hammer by Ghost, The Threat Is Real by Megadave, Hardwired by Metallica, and Brotherhood of the Snake by Testament. Now, for this award, I obviously would have preferred if it went to either Testament or Amon Amarth, since the other songs and bands were just kind of whatever. But
And I would have liked for The Price Is Wrong to have gotten a nomination, because that's a fucking awesome song. At least the Grammys got that right.
Pretty much. And you have to imagine how much it sucked for Periphery to be presenting for an award they should have been nominated for. I bet they're like, yo, Revolver, what the fuck? Come on.
Yeah.
And so the award, unfortunately, went to what I think is the most overrated band of the bunch, Ghost, for Square Hammer. I just don't get this band. They're so lame and boring. They're the rice cakes of music.
They're bringing doom metal to the mainstream in some capacity.
Is it even doom metal though? It's just like boilerplate Blue Oyster Cult knockoff.
It's slow enough to be doom.
If you say so, pal. I've listened to plenty of doom, but and this shit nowhere near like at all. It's just blech. Okay, and so we have our final award of the night. Dave Lombardo from Slayer and Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage being the presenters on this. So, the last award is, of course, for Album of the Year. Now, let's see what our nominees were this go around. Deftones, Gore, an album that I think is actually like the second weakest that the Deftones have done, apart from their self-titled. Dystopia by Megadave. Obviously, no one would want that to win. The Violent Sleep of Reason by Meshuggah. Yes! Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And last but not least, Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie from Volbeat. Alex, you want to say the winner here?
Proof? Okay, but first, let me preface this by saying this award signifies what is essentially the biggest and most important album of the year within this genre. It is the nucleus of which this genre that we call metal centers around, and it's Metallica. Are you even surprised?
I am, because I actually got to hear the album recently. Like, when I got a check from my aunt for my birthday, I cashed it, I spent the money on, shit, I even sprang for the deluxe 3-disc edition. And I listened to the album, I'm like, it's better than Death Magnetic, but that's kind of like saying Final Fantasy X-2 is better than Final Fantasy X. Which it is. I could have told you could have just listened to the whole album on YouTube with those videos for free. I could have, but I like to gamble, when it comes to music listening. And it's only really fun if you could lose. Which, this wasn't technically a loss, but this is kind of like putting in $5 and getting back $7. If they had nominated...
At least we can agree, though, at least we can agree that Spit Out the Bone is a fucking killer song.
Easily the best thing Metallica's written in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
The award should have gone to Meshuggah, though.
But again, this is supposed to signify what is essentially the most important album of the entire calendar year.
As opposed to what was actually the good one. Ugh. They didn't even nominate Dillinger Escape Plan. That's bullshit.
They didn't nominate Periphery either. Dillinger. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. You know what? In fact, get Deftones, get Megadeth, and get Volbeat out of there. Nominate Dillinger Escape Plan, friggin' Periphery, and then I don't even know what the third one would be.
Dream Theater?
Let's say Nails. Nominate You Will Never Be One of Us. Which is basically what Metallica's win was saying to everyone else who was nominated. You will never be one of us. And then that was basically the end of all the, award stuff. I didn't... And, of course, there was... Oh my god, I actually have to mention this. Because when they said... And I made a note of this. When they announced that Metallica won the award, if you paid attention, you could hear very clear, audible groaning from the entirety of the audience. They were just as dissatisfied as we were. Or I was, rather.
I should also mention that Metallica actually played a show at that very same building about 3 months prior. So, yeah, make with that what you will.
Which, probably explains that acceptance video provided by good old Lars Ulrich. God, I hate looking at his face. He just has a face you want to, punch in the face. And then I don't even...
No, that would be Danny Worsnop for me.
That too. And, I don't even remember how this show ended. Because, I know that there was, a big, tribute event to various fallen metal musicians from the past year or two. But I don't even remember who, the specific performers were. I know there was a tribute to Lemmy from Motorhead. And then I forget... Who was the performance of that? Did you get a note of that by any chance?
I actually turned it off after the last award because I had enough. This show is 3 hours long. It should have been 2. Just no. If this show is the reason why there are no more Revolver Awards shows in the years to come, you will all know why.
Oh my god, it's just man, you could tell, okay, do you actually I know you, I can't remember if you mentioned this in the past, but do you actually like Jose Mangin as a radio persona?
Well, I had satellite radio a lot of years ago, and I would occasionally hear him doing stuff, on the stations. Personally, I don't mind him that much. He has a personality, doesn't bother me, so that, I can see why he would come off as a little odd to people.
But you can tell this is I don't know if this is his first time ever hosting some kind of a public event, but if it wasn't, it sure doesn't feel it, because he just seemed like so, like this very awkward level of over enthusiasm. Like
that's just how he is. He's in a lot of public stuff before, but usually he does all that stuff without someone like, I don't know, Dave Mustaine bringing everything down.
Yeah, you can tell, like, Dave Mustaine, like, he was just kind of in a Nick Nolte kind of mood through the entire show. And this is where we insert Patton Oswalt's impression of Nick Nolte right here. Just, I don't even know what the hell's going on here, man. Although I did appreciate the few times he kind of went into stereotypical Hispanic mode. Kind of, adopting this fictitious idea of, like, his, like, mom or his abuela watching the award show and just kind of, jokingly mocking the whole thing. Kind of reminds me of my parents. They never approved of my music taste.
I'm not surprised.
Because unless I know how to play Suavemente on the drums, they just don't care.
Suavemente.
Suavemente. Bésame. A bunch of Spanish stuff that I don't understand. Blah, 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 blah. Something, whatever. And so that was the show. That was pretty much the entire show. That was the entire Revolver Music Awards 2016. And just...
wow, this sucked.
I almost want to say it can't get worse. But I know that'd probably be jinxing it. So I'll just say... So we'll just accept that it could probably get worse from here.
I don't know. This was a pretty big step down from 2 years ago when Dillinger Escape Plan's vocalist just cut himself open in the head performing.
Hey, say what you will about that. At least that's memorable.
Yeah. That's why I said this show was a big step down.
Meanwhile, we got jack shit here. I mean, when the most memorable part of your show is friggin' the audience booing at the Album of the Year winner, you got problems.
Yeah. Again, if there are no more Revolver Music Awards shows in the years to come, you all know why.
And so that concludes the awards ceremony, and that concludes this week's episode of the podcast. So now to clean house and get the hell out of here, Alex, where can they find you on the internets?
AUAROFA. I can't spell, or of Azure. That's where you can find me.
AURAOFAZURE. It's not that hard.
I am sick, Roberts. I can't think clearly.
So I have a cold and I can think clearly.
Well, lucky you.
And as for me, you can find me on Twitter at RobBarracuda, as well as on AskFM, Instagram at RobBarracuda, and on YouTube at RobBarracuda, which is probably where you're listening to this podcast. While you're there, make sure to click subscribe as well as the bell icon so that way you're always notified when new episodes of the podcast go up. And of course, this is the official music podcast of Surreal Resolution, which you can find online at www.surrealresolution.com and find the podcast on subdomain decibelboost.surrealresolution.com and, follow on Twitter at SurrealRezo. While you're there, you can, listen to all our previous episodes of the podcast, as well as listen to the site's gaming podcast, The Training Stage, where our friends Tyler, Joey, and John comment on all things going on within the video game industry. Rather, slip of the tongue there for a minute. And also, while you're on the site, you can check out tons of written content. We got game reviews, we got some anime stuff. We're probably going to get a couple film reviews going in the next couple weeks. And of course, our boy Alex has even posted some things, finally catching up on some anime stuff.
Yes. Your ice is almost over, and my heart is going to explode! I can't take it, man!
I need to catch up with the gay ice skating. But really, it's a good show. You all should
Yes, you do. Because, yes. And I will tell you why you should be watching it on Christmas Day.
Yes, you will. And of course, he's also been catching up with Tiger Mask W as well, correct?
I have, and I'll be catching up with Nanbaka as well, which, by the time you hear this, you should all be seeing it.
Yep. So, that'll do it for... Oh, and while you're there, be sure to jump into the Discord chat so you can talk with us about, music, movies, anime, dank memes, all that. As well as bitch at me and Alex for mocking that one band you like.
Insert band name here.
Pretty much. And of course, shout out to the producer, Mr.E, for graciously letting me use his music for this podcast. So that has been the Decibel Boost podcast for this week. And until next time, fuck Mega Dave.
Revolver, you suck. Epiphone, give me free shit.